Well, good morning and welcome back. Well, November is National Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and with 5 million people here in the United States living with the disease and about 10 million family members dealing with members who actually have that disease, it's a pretty heartbreaking sort of disease to have. So we're speaking with a neurosurgeon and author, Dr. Kay. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning, Sacramento.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Alzheimer's disease. I know there are still a lot of questions, for families who may not be dealing with it. There are some things out there that we should be knowing about, right? First off, can you tell us exactly what Alzheimer's disease is and how it affects the brain?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a very important disorder. It's about the 6th leading cause of death for older adults in the United States. A very important disorder. And what we found is that this disorder really involves a neurodegeneration of certain circuitry in the brain. And these circuits are typically in the area of the brain called the hippocampus.
Uh-huh.
That area of the brain is very important for memory. And that's why you hear a lot about memory loss with Alzheimer's disease. Mm-hmm. And what we found is that these tangles and plaques are found inside these structures of the brain. And actually, to take you back in history just very quickly, Dr. Alzheimer in 1906 really identified this because he was treating an older woman who lost all of her memory, couldn't speak, and no one knew what was going on. He ended up doing an autopsy and finding these plaques and tangles in these regions of the brain. So quite interesting.
Yes, and what are some of the misconceptions or myths when it does come to Alzheimer's? I know like a lot of folks associate it with memory loss and not recognizing, friends and family members.
Yeah, some misconceptions are that that people with Alzheimer's disease really cannot have any functionality in life, that their life is basically over. That is absolutely not true. Mm-hmm. There's a variety of different degrees of severity. You have mild, moderate, and severe. Most people are in the mild to moderate category, and they are very, very functional. So that is a common misconception.
Well, what is the best thing for family members, whether they're supporting or having to deal with a family member or friend with the disease? What is your biggest tip or advice for them, as a doctor? What can we do to help guide them through this time?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I write a lot about that in my books. I think communication is just so important. So really communicating with your loved one or with your patient and trying to identify what problems they may be having at that moment in time. I think that's just so critical. Mm-hmm. For example, are they having memory trouble? Are they having verbal difficulty? Are they having trouble walking? And a classic story is, for example, you let your uncle or your grandpa outside, let him go for a walk, and he can't find his way back. Well, we need to communicate with our family members and our patients to understand at what level they're at in that disorder. So I think that's very crucial. And, a lot of times there's these myths about, we forget things. We all forget things. That's right. Common. It doesn't mean we have Alzheimer's disease. Just because you have some memory loss, that does not mean you have Alzheimer's disease. There's very strict categories that define that disease.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Paul. We ran out of time here, but I know you have written a lot of books on, on neurosurgery. So if you'd like to learn more about Dr. Paul, you can head over to his website. It is drpaulwriting.com to learn more about Alzheimer's and, ways to support yourself and your family members that are dealing with this disease. Thank you so much, Doctor. We'll have all that information up on our screen. T, back to you.
All right, thanks. Cooking that Thanksgiving meal doesn't have to be stressful. Ahead.